Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.
Just rewind it. Rewind it and do it again. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Totem Podcast. Today we got a special guest for you. Like always, we got Erick here with us.
How you guys doing? We're here. We're ready to roll. But before we get started, just like always, we are on YouTube and Spotify as the Totem Podcast. Probably better to listen to it on YouTube, honestly, just so you can get that video form on there too. But yeah, guys, if you guys wanted to keep bringing on more guests, just make sure to subscribe to the channel, and also be to be notified for every time we have a new episode live. Just hit the bell, and that way you can tell you hey, these guys got a new episode up. But yeah, we're here today, and we're excited to get going,
ready to roll. Yeah. So today's guest that we got Corey Knutson. But just so you guys know, if you guys give him a Google, he's how he looks on the Google photo, he's about half that person physically, but he's actually way bigger, grown way more mentally, financially, spiritually, everything. So Corey Knutson, welcome to Totem.
Thanks, man. Excited to be here. And I would reiterate, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. It's fun to watch these videos. I'm excited to be a part of it and the content and have a discussion with these two men that mean a lot to me, and I think we'll probably talk a little bit about it too, how we met and the opportunities we had, and you guys knew me as that bigger man, right? I mean, I was big then, and like you said, 355 pounds at my heaviest, and now we're down about 90 to 265. So excited, and pretty much everything you said. I appreciate you giving me the invite to be here and do what I love doing, which is talking, right? With men, a little iron sharpening iron. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your day to come over here and just chat with us for a bit,
Absolutely.
And then how you were saying, we've known each other for a while. So give me a little backstory, how your upbringings, where you come from.
Sure.
A little bit about that.
Yeah, man. I was born and raised in Northern California, and actually raised by a single mom. And my grandparents were a huge anchor in my life, and really helped my mom take care of me and be there and instill values in me, love me, correct me, discipline me, all that stuff. And actually, I was just thinking about this yesterday. I got to take my own son out to the golf course, really for the first time, right? And he's excited to play now. He has his own clubs, and we were out there and spent the whole day playing golf, being out in the sunshine and having fun, right? And I my grandfather passed away in 2017, and he was the man in my life, the guy that you would call when you did something wrong, right? And you knew it, and you wanted to talk to somebody about it without judgment. The man, I can't remember the man ever yelling at me in my entire life, right? He was there was many times he was very stern, but this man, would just be humble and listen and give advice when asked for, and other times it would just be full encouragement, you already realized what you did wrong and what you should have done differently, and the right choice to make. Now go make it, right? Now let's execute. And it was just interesting to see the similarities on how I enjoy spending time with my son doing the things, golf, which is what my grandfather really instilled in me and taught me how to play and enjoy it as a sport. It was just really cool yesterday to be able to share that with my son, now moving it on another generation, right? And without my grandfather in my life teaching me that sport or enjoying it so much himself that I wanted to enjoy it because I looked up to him, I wouldn't have got to share that with Cam yesterday, so.
And was he kind of the one wanted to go, or you kind of be like, hey, you want to go?
He wanted to go. Yeah. I mean, he's always when I take my golf clubs, he's wanted his own golf clubs for a long time. Right. And we had the old plastic ones and he was 3-4 years old, but he'd shatter them now, which he'd done, broke all of them. Right. And that's when they're outgrowing that set. So yeah, we went and got him a little set and he's just, amped. He likes to watch it. Well, he says he likes to watch it, but that means about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, then he's bored, right? Because, the point of watching professional golf on TV is to really get a nice little nap in on a Sunday afternoon.
It's a little dry to just watch.
It is.
Sit there for a few hours and just watch.
Yep. And I remember being his age thinking the same exact thing. My grandfather also didn't believe in cable, so we could only watch it on Saturday and Sunday, right? On the like we had 5 channels. And it was really for the news, Oprah, and golf, right? Oprah for my grandma. That when I think of like my past and really where I'm at today, everything centers around really the principles that man taught me, right? And like I think every time we touch on another area of my life, it just reminds me how important he was. And he taught me 2 things, and you guys may have heard it. And Harrison Chisholm, who's been on this podcast before, that was head coach for Morgan for a long time, believed in it as well. And that was like really 2 aspects in life: having a great attitude and giving maximum effort, right? And that was like the key to my grandfather as a man. Those were the things he expected, and those are the things he would do. And so like that's really what I think led me. I mean, I've done so many different things in my life, and like I still, when people think like, how did you get to becoming a State Farm agent, or what made you choose to want to do that? And there is not just one thing, right? I think it was kind of everything I've been through put me in the position to be able to use the gifts that I've been given and actually create a life that is worth living, and financially, but also time-wise and freedom. And you guys know things get busier as you get older and you start having kids. It's even busier. And I remember like even thinking back to my early ages, like I never got to see my mom because she was working or at school, and she put herself through school at night. And so I was always with my grandparents. And I was like, man, one thing I always thought about was like, and I always looked at it a little differently than I think a lot of my own peers that were my age. But I'm like, man, you work 40 years in life to potentially, during your most effective time on earth, right, where you're healthiest, you have the most energy, you know, all of that stuff. Your kids are the youngest. You work 40 years through those years to potentially and hopefully get to experience 10 or 15, maybe 20 years of retirement. Right. And I'm like, man, hopefully,
yeah.
Right. And the statistics are wild too on how soon people die after they quit working. Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really terrifying sometimes
because they lose that like purpose that they had in life.
Right.
So now they retire and they don't have a purpose to do anything. So
right. My oldest is actually just starting high school too. And I'm like, I look at this whole thing and I'm like, man, we're taught for a long time to be prepared to dedicate 8 hours a day to something else.
Yeah.
Right. And like Piper, my oldest, who is going to be 15 in February, she just started her freshman year at Poudre High School up in Fort Collins, and their schedule is from 9 a.m. to 4:10 p.m. every day. Right.
Okay.
And I'm like, as we were sitting in freshman orientation, I'm just like, this is again gearing individuals to be a part of the workforce and understand you're going to dedicate X amount of hours per day per week to do what you need to do and be a productive citizen. Right. Well, I'm like,
there's a problem with that, don't you?
I don't want
think?
to do that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I think there is a big problem with that. I think the 9-to-5 jobs, and I mean, I do have them. I do have one, right? My hours are 9 to 5. Being an entrepreneur and the opportunity here that State Farm has presented me, I have freedom. It's Monday morning, and I get to spend some time doing this, right? Be a little bit harder if I was still an employee and stuff. So it's like, man, I just think it's crazy the opportunities that you can earn in this world, you know, and in this society, right? Like, and that just based on having a good attitude and giving a maximum effort, right? Working as hard as you can, outwork your neighbor, outwork your peers, and anything is possible. You know, I still can't. It's such a winding road on like where I've been and what it's taken to get me here that it's hard. Like again, to always answer that question, like what's the thing that brought you to become a State Farm agent and a business owner? I don't have just one thing.
It's just
everything has helped.
Just the accumulation, everything just adding up. Something one thing to another just keeps piling and piling. But because you did so kind of when we met each other, you're a coach.
I was.
So,
yeah.
So that's kind of the interesting thing, like that. I've pretty much that's an awesome thing too, that I've seen you also, and you've seen me both kind of, like, not maybe personally, but like we've been kind of in touch a little bit, you know.
Yep.
But to be able to develop the persons we are now, like,
yes,
because I see we're, like, you see, is like you're an assistant coach, and a lot of people like, oh yeah, he's just like an assistant, you know, just whatever.
Yep.
You know, but then you see the transition to be like, the attitude and effort
for sure,
whatever
man.
you put to the stuff.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I think really what brought me to Fort Morgan, and ultimately, when I look at how we got to here, right, where I got to be on the football field with you guys for a couple of years, and build a relationship with you guys, and get to see you guys progress as well, and go on and accomplish things in your life, was all based on me actually becoming a pastor at the church. The First Baptist Church in Fort Morgan, the old building where Family Dollar is now.
Okay.
There was an old brick brown church building there. And I took over the pastor role of that church at 21 years old, right? It was in June of 2012. Turned 22 a month later.
How was that transition?
How does that happen?
At that age, you know, usually you're 21, you're like, let's party. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a big thing that happened there was, you know, I got put in a position where I knew that I was called into the ministry of reconciliation, right? And really my definition of that is just helping people restore their relationship with God through understanding what Jesus did for them. And like, I went to school, studied basically theology and pastoral studies, and graduated. And really the school even actually always encouraged kids to go do a 1-year internship, right? Because you are young, you know. It was a 3-year school program, and then they really encouraged kids to do a 1-year internship. Could be full-time, part-time, whatever. Well, I found an opportunity that they were looking for a pastor, and in their minds, the church's minds, they were an older group, older congregation, and if we hire this young kid, he's going to bring young people, right? And we can grow this and go back to you know, down the direction we want to go instead of backwards. And so I was like, okay, sweet. I mean, I'm just like excited that someone's going to give me an opportunity. Well, it ended up being probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. It was flat out miserable at times. Dude, it was. And so at that time, right, that immediately that summer, I'm like, I want to get invested in the community, and I love the sport of football. I'm going to go down to the high school and just see who I can meet. Well, Chisholm happened to be in the weight room. I'm just walking around aimlessly down around that athletic department, and got to meet Harrison for the first time. Introduced myself, told him I was looking for it. I'm like, hey, man, need some extra hands, don't need paid, just want to be a part of something cool, and build relationships within the program, and hopefully help you. I was never that great at football, right? I understand the game. And I think I've gotten better at understanding the game from a coach's perspective, but I was never athletic or, you know, really like a standout. I mean, I was never all state or anything like that in my small school and high school. As a matter of fact, I was pretty lazy, and, you know, probably could have been a lot better if I would have put in the time and effort. But, you know, it was like one of those things where, so I just went in and built a relationship with Harrison. He's like, dude, yeah, I would love, you know, we start summer workouts in like 3 weeks. Just come hang out. Okay. That's really how the coaching aspect of that, right, started. And then technically once,
So what year was that first year you were?
2012.
2012?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Which would have been,
I was
junior?
Yeah, I was junior.
It was junior year for him. And that was totally volunteer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. You kind of just glossed over it, but it takes a lot out of a person just to be like, let me go do this, no pay, no nothing.
Right.
I'm just going to hang out.
Yeah.
And because that goes kind of hand in hand with kind of the ego, you know.
For sure.
You kind of have to just go and be like, hey, this is what I am. Do you need help?
Right. Yeah, and there was some standoffish moments for sure too. I mean, I think for the individuals on the team, especially a lot of the seniors, right, they had no idea who I am. And I'm potentially at that time 3-4 years older than them, right? New face. But I don't think I've ever had a problem with being loud and proud and hopefully encouraging, right? I mean, that was my biggest role, I think, especially that first year, is just encouraging men to be to handle adversity and to get better every week, right? Like that was my mindset. Is like I just want to be there and be a part of, these men and the progress in their lives, right?
Yeah.
And I get to do that on the football field, right? And get a front row seat to watching you guys leave it out on the field on Legion. I mean, dude, Legion Friday Night Lights, bro, it's unreal.
That's a vibe.
It's just, it is a vibe. It's a full vibe. You have
to be there to feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you were there, it's like, and it's kind of like how you were saying too. You were younger. You were older than us, but you were younger, not too much. So I felt it kind of like, it was kind of like your big brother being like, "Hey, you got to get your shit in."
Yeah, for sure.
Like, "Hey, do this." And,
I guess for me too, it didn't feel like you were like one of the coaches. Really, I don't mean that in like a bad way, but it's like
I was like a grad student.
Yeah, he's like he can relate with us. So like, whatever he says is probably we should be doing.
Right. Yeah. And I remember as those relationships got deeper, conversations would change from football. Right. And then now it started becoming some life conversations and talking about females, and the relational aspect of that in high school, which is so different than when you get out of high school and go to college and start building a life. Right. I mean, like everything does not revolve around you anymore. Right. I think our perspective in high school is very small, very small minded, and it's easy to get upset because things out of your control are starting to really happen, and you're starting to have more responsibility.
Yeah.
At the same time, I also joined the volunteer fire department there in Fort Morgan that same year too, right? Yeah. So, and again, that's what that church body of believers said they wanted, right? Be involved, go reach the community. And I really do believe reaching people where they are, and again, just being a positive influence and letting people see the wreck that I am, right? Because I am a wreck. I mean, I have plenty of problems and plenty of issues and have made plenty of poor decisions. And even in that time from when I graduated high school to when I got to first coach you guys, I also think of those 3 years where I had a lot of things going on and I was married really young. We had a child, all of that in perspective. I had an opportunity to learn a lot of hard lessons that maybe I could help portray some of those issues, and that you would make a different decision, right? Or someone else would maybe make a smarter decision, and because of what I was able to share with them, right? I don't know if anything like that has ever happened, but that was always a goal for me, right? It's just be someone that points upward and onward, right? Not inward and downward.
Yeah, and then I think that's kind of pretty important. It's like you're saying, you just open yourself up, and they're like, this is what happened to me because I did this.
Right.
So then it's like for us, like especially the younger generation people, that you can't tell them like you have to do this because I said so. You have to do this. So it's like, hey, this happened to me because I did this.
Yeah.
If you keep doing that, it could probably happen to you too.
For sure.
So it's like just know what you're getting into, because a lot of times we're trapped in the spot of the unknown. We really don't know what will happen if we do a certain thing.
And the tough part of that too is like you don't see really like the fruits of your labor until a few years down the road.
For sure.
So like you don't know if you're actually reaching someone or actually like getting to them until there's a few years down the road when they actually like grow up.
Yeah. And I think some of the stuff, man, I may never know. But I think that's the cool part of how we live our lives too, and the purpose, the root of our purpose of living life, is some of that stuff is, it gets paid back at the end, right? And like, it's all, again, I think of that even now, right? And if you do Google me and go on my website, right, you're gonna see a lot of big red lettering, right? I'm actually in my actual State Farm polo, and I am wearing khakis. They can confirm that, right?
Yeah,
sure.
But my name is not Jake, FYI. It's Corey. But amongst all that corporate lingo and stuff, right, you're going to see my mission statement. You're going to see what in the team that I've built. I've instilled it in all of them and wanted them, basically from day one, this is my mission. Either you're in or you're out, right? Yeah. This is the expectations. And my mission is to positively impact people where they are. That's it, right? Now, a lot of that is geared towards the insurance world and financial services and helping people protect what's important to them. But that might be where I meet a certain individual. It's not where I meet everybody, right? Yeah. And that was the coolest part, I think, about the opportunity that Harrison gave me to join the team, even though it was a volunteer position. I kind of liked that in the beginning too, because if I had something else I had to do and I couldn't be there, I didn't feel as bad, right? Because it is volunteer, right? Mm-hmm. And now I was there a lot, and made myself helpful, hopefully. I think Harrison would say I was pretty helpful. He asked me, actually, he wanted me, remember Jake Schneider used to show up on Friday nights and kind of be the Friday night coach and bring some more energy. Yeah. He's like, dude, I need one of those in Weld Central. You ever feel like coming out to a game, just let me know. Get you a Weld Central shirt and come stand on the sideline and get people going.
So are you going?
I need to. Yeah, I haven't made it out there yet, but now that football season is officially here,
week one's in the books already.
Yeah, we got to make it happen. I need to get out there for sure. It's not that far. It really isn't from Fort Collins.
Yep.
So
yeah, but what you're saying, like now with your business that you do have, so it's like you say you got the values, like with the expectations of them. So it's like us, we actually have them like over there on the board. So it's like we got values, like what are we gonna, like no matter what happens, these are always first,
Exactly.
Like you can be having a bad day, you can be having whatever. For me, I think integrity is like a big one.
Huge.
What are you gonna do like when no one's watching?
Looking.
That's $1 million question,
dude. And that
and it's like for you, like I'm pretty sure you I know you have integrity because like you can just tell, like you're physical, like you're way smaller. So like what got you started there?
I wish it was something better, I really do. But honestly speaking, it was anxiety caused, and it really changed my relationship with food. And that was during going through a divorce. At the same time that I was really in my first year of business. And a lot of people don't know this, but the way State Farm works is you're on a temporary 13-month contract your first year. So I had no plan B, C, or D, right? I had plan A, which was to be a State Farm agent and grow a team and run this business. Potentially, if I'm here for another 10 years, 30 years, or 50 years, this is what I want to do, right? But that 13-month period, the anxiety and sleepless nights, because you're setting goals for your business to achieve, and then you better achieve them. Because now State Farm's going to say, well, why didn't you do what you said you were going to do, right? And so I kind of like that about State Farm too, though. They really believe in accountability, and they don't set the goals for you. You set your own. Okay. Right. And so, I mean, you can approach that situation a couple different ways. Right. And actually, right before I became an agent, you're in a 17-week internship program with other classmates that are all getting ready to open up the same type of business on the same day. Our day was December 1st, 2020. A lot of us still talk to this day. And actually, the girl that I see now, I met in that internship class, and our relationship together started completely professional, right? And just that's how I met her. She's a State Farm agent as well now. But that 13-month period is like, if I don't do what I need to do, and really it all fell on me, right? My name's on the wall, my name's on the business card, my name's on the policy. It doesn't matter what the team did, right? If I fell short, I fell short. It wasn't my team. And so I was terrified of not getting my contract, even though and this is the way my brain works sometimes, right? I do have an issue sometimes dealing appropriately with the things that are out of my control, right? What I did was I set goals and I hit the goals, But we do review checkpoints basically every quarter. Every single one of those was good. But my relationship with my sales leader at the time was not great, and like he would never really give me any positive encouragement, or like constructive criticism. It was always like we'd have a bad week, and my numbers to him were live, so he could go into our system and see what we were able to do. Right, have a bad week, boom, I'd get an email or a phone call. What's going on? Have a great week, great month, great quarter.
Nothing.
Not a word. Right. I don't operate real well with that personally. Right. And I think you guys probably know from the time we spent on the field, I don't coach that way either. Right. I mean, I'll get on you. I probably was on you more than I ever had to be on you. And that was just timing. And then once I took on the position with the JV and calling the plays, right? Mm-hmm. That was your sophomore year, I think. So we got a lot of playing time. Maybe that was your freshman year, actually.
I think it might have been freshman year.
Yeah,
because I was
never playing a lot of
our
varsity sophomore year.
Yeah,
I think it was just freshman getting you reps, and so we would kind of break off some a little bit more. But yes, I'm going to hold you accountable. Yes, I'm going to challenge you. But at the same time, when you pancake somebody or you get your hips where you need them, your feet, your steps are right, I'm going to tell you, right? And I'm going to give you a high five and I appreciate and I will recognize the effort, right?
I think that's more important than just criticizing all the negatives. Because you got to know when you do something good. Because obviously, I missed the block or whatever. I know I fucked up. I know that was bad.
Right.
But then I need that like encouragement when you do something right. Okay, that's how it feels. That's what I
exactly.
Need to be doing.
Like and you're reinforcing those principles, right?
You're not just gonna be like, I let him go. We'll see you later. I just let him pass me.
Right.
It's like you're trying to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, sorry to cut you off. So for me, it's like what you're saying. The positive. Give me the positives. Obviously, the negatives are always coming.
Yep.
But it's like you get people to kind of like to cheer you on, to do stuff. You feel better. The negatives, if you keep doing the same negative thing over and over and over, then it starts turning into a habit. Then there could be a problem. But it's like, if it happened once,
right? All
right, it happens twice. Once it starts happening 3-4 times, you're like, hey, okay, we gotta address this.
Yeah, and in sales and right, I mean, like, I was able to. So prior, the cool part about this too is like, there's no buy-in to this process, right? With me becoming an agent, I didn't have to come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars as an initial investment. I had to be prepared to run a business, but that business was creating revenue day one with State Farm, and I have. This is the part I have to remember, right? Because I do represent the largest insurance company in the country. We've been that way since 1942 in auto insurance and 1964 on home insurance. So that's a long time being number one. There's a reason that we're number one, and that's because of the way that they provide support for us agents and our teams, right? All the computer systems, they helped me look through my lease when I was leasing my first space. They came in and wired the building for what I needed. They have support channels for our underwriting needs and all that kind of stuff, right? And so it's like the support is so important to remember, and remember the positives, even with all that anxiety that was going on with that temporary. I mean, it was just a feel of like, this is what I wanted. I realized very early on, this is what I want to do forever. So it's like, I just kept thinking sometimes and spending time, way too much time rent free in my head of thinking, what if I don't get it? What if I don't get it? And then I would, and it was perfect because honestly, it motivated me, but then someone would always step in and be like, why are you saying what if? You're going to get it. Keep doing what you're doing and keep your foot on the gas, right? And keep loving people where they are. And that's the biggest thing for me too, is like, I don't believe that I'm an insurance salesman, right? I'm an insurance education specialist that's also going to love you at the same time as a person, and I don't care where you're at, what color you are. I don't care really pretty much anything. My goal is to help you better understand insurance and get to know you a little bit better and make you feel like a meaningful human being. Yeah, that has been successful, right? That perspective, and really, I'm so happy that my 3 employees have the same mission, right? They just want to love people where they are. Doesn't mean we don't have frustrating days, but it's that. Now that I have my contract, the anxiety's gone. But to get back to where we were and the great question you asked, or maybe you asked it, but really what instilled the weight loss transformation was anxiety. Right. It was a negative thing for sure. And a divorce that was very difficult emotionally. Going through something like that, a lot of people don't like to talk about those kind of things. But like I said before this started, I'll talk about anything. And I'll give you my perspective. Now, my ex-wife probably give you a completely different perspective, right? So that's what I try to remember too, as I'm going through this with a couple kids, and a lot of people were involved in both of our lives. And then I feel like people when there's a divorce, they have to make a choice.
You gotta choose a side.
You gotta choose one or the other.
Right. And I don't like that. I don't think that's really the way it should be. Unfortunately, you kind of always jive with, maybe, well, hey man, that's my best friend is the husband. I have to support him. I can't still talk to his ex-wife or whatever it might be. But, it's interesting the perspective that I have on that whole situation and going through that. It caused a lot of unknown feelings, right? And I don't deal well with things that are uncontrollable. It's been an issue for me for a long time. So, what was that anxiety was starting to affect my body in a way where it was like rejecting food. I would eat and then immediately want to throw up. Wow. And so then it was like, okay, well, I guess maybe I'll go to intermittent fasting, right? Maybe that'll work for me. So I kind of went to that, and then I'm like, man, I'm bored, and, had some time where, we're co-parenting now. So there would be times where my kids are with their mom and I'm at home, and there ain't no more work I can do for the day. I'm like, okay, well, now I can't really eat, or I'm not that hungry. And when I do eat, I'm eating better food, right? Because I need protein. Guess I should probably start being a little more active. So I joined a gym right by my house. And I'll be honest with you, social media, TikTok especially, gave me the direction to head. And that was cardio and easy cardio. Right. So what I did was incline on a treadmill at 3.5 miles an hour. Right. That's it, dude.
Consistency.
And I would just go do it for an hour. And bro, I would wear a hoodie, sweats, a shirt, maybe an undershirt.
So you can sweat it all out.
Yes. And I remember, at that point in time, really the big transition was like from September last year through the winter. And every day, I'd come out of the gym and it'd be, 20 degrees outside, and you just feel so good. Uh-huh. And the steam would just roll, and I'd get home and I'd take my hoodie off and it'd be heavy. I could bring it out, and it helped create appetite too, but at that same point, if I wanted to eat something crappy, I did it. I'm not gonna continue like that's, and I think that's why this has worked for me. And like I was telling you, maybe even before we started, this isn't a fad. I'm doing this forever, right?
It's a lifestyle.
It's lifestyle.
It's just part of it.
Yeah. So there are times where I, enjoy myself a little too much, right? And you just reset, right? It's like, okay, well, that was fun, And I use the scale now as just a reminder to keep myself accountable again, because I do believe in accountability. So jump on there and be like,
brings you awareness.
Yes,
say you ate something that's not that great,
right?
But you worked out. You're like, okay, hey, I didn't eat as good this day, so maybe for the rest of the week, I better kind of watch it because I already had these couple things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was the biggest thing for me was that I've tried many other things. And just, I'll be honest, I think at that point it was like I was just too lazy to make changes or too comfortable maybe in certain aspects of my life. It wasn't as important for me. And then, again, going through a divorce where you think you're going to be married to this individual forever, it does, now I'm like, man, I might end up alone, right? I better at least make sure. And that's the other thing is like, then I start having really a readjustment on my thinking for my kids. I want to make sure I'm around for them as much as I can. And then I just started experiencing how much better it feels, like on knees. My golf swing got better. It made so much of an impact. Even those first 10 or 15 pounds I could feel it, right? I wasn't near as concerned. I wasn't watching it as much. But then once other people started noticing, and then I took some time to actually look at some different photos and stuff, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you can see
it snuck up on me. Those 9 months, I mean, is really what it took to do it. For me, I think of it as really like 270 days. But to see the 9 months from one picture to the next, that gave me, it was pretty encouraging for sure. I was excited. So
yeah, like I was like in a similar boat too. Like when you first get to that point, like you don't even realize it that you're like that big. It just like sneaks up on you like, over time. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because you said it was like when you had like a big change in your life. That's kind of, I don't know if that's when you started going like losing it or started getting up there first. But for me, it was like when I first like went to college. It was like a completely big change in my life. So that's when I just found comfort in food, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah.
And then just sneaks up on you. You don't realize it till you actually. I had to go buy a scale. Yeah. And then actually just stop buying it myself. Yeah. And then that's kind of when. Yeah. When I noticed, and that's when I started making the change too.
What made you realize, Eric? Like for you, like when you were just there and you're just like,
God, I'm fat. Yeah, like I remember thinking that.
See that.
I remember thinking that.
Just like you just see that sexy beast in the mirror when you're getting in the shower.
the sexy beast. Yeah. No, it's.
I think you don't feel that way. No, number one. No, right? I mean, for real. For real. Like you start looking at mirrors and stuff, and you're kind of like, wow.
What about now though? Now you. I
feel a lot better.
And then you can pass. You're like, oh wait.
Yeah,
like, a little bit.
I think there's a little bit too. Then and again, this might be an individual issue for me. It's like well, I'm still not happy.
Yeah,
right?
never.
But then I'm also I'm not happy enough to. I still want that double 100%. Cheeseburger, right? So I still again, this is a work in progress for me, gentlemen, and it's like one of those things. I have a target weight, I guess, but really I have more of a target physique. Maybe I guess would be better. I don't care what I weigh. If I was to look this certain way, and maybe that's the right or wrong way to think about it, but really biggest goal is just to give myself the best chance at living to see my kids grow up, right? I could still that being in the industry I'm into and seeing, the perfect 35-year-old male or female in perfect health and they die, right? I mean, just because you're in perfect health doesn't mean you're going to live to be 100.
Oh, for sure.
But being like better in shape, healthier will help
much better chance.
Way better.
You can eliminate all these like other problems that you could
variables,
have, and then just focus on what the main stuff could be like. Yeah. Maybe it's like something with your genetics or something. Right. You don't have much control over that. But then diabetes, I can control that.
For sure.
I can stay away from that.
Did you have a moment? Because I have one in the back of my mind right now, and I'll share it with you in a minute. Did you have a moment where you were just like, damn, I'm huge?
Yeah, it was on my birthday. Okay. 2 years ago, we went to play mini golf. Yeah. I was like, I'll take a picture of me so I can post it up. Yeah. And then like she'd take a couple pictures, and then I'd look at them and be like, try from this angle.
Yeah, can we get a different angle?
I'm not fucking posting this.
Yeah, and then I'd be there. I'd be like sucking it in. And pictures, I still look fucking fat. Like, that's when I like really noticed. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then after that's when I wanted to go buy a scale, and I was like, go out and make some changes. Yeah. So that was about 2 years ago. Okay. And then since then I've gone. It was like you were saying. It's like it's not gonna be a fad. Like I made a choice. Like it's not gonna be something I do for a couple months and just stop. Right. It has to be like a whole lifestyle change. Yeah. Because I was eating just fucking pasta 5 days a week. Yeah. And that's not the best thing to be eating. But then when you actually take inventory of yourself and then actually see what you need to be doing to get there. So like it's not like a fad. It's like a lifestyle choice. For sure. I'm gonna be doing this. Yes, because I want to get down in a short period of time, but I'm gonna just keep doing it.
Yeah, yep, 100% agree.
What was your?
Mine's way more embarrassing. Oh, so it's 2018. We went to Las Vegas with some friends. It was actually for my ex-wife's 30th birthday. There's a place on the old strip called the Heart Attack Grill. Okay, if you weigh over 350 pounds, you eat for free. Oh, there's a cattle scale. Like I mean, it's a big boy. I mean, this scale's for livestock. out front. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Las Vegas, but the old strip.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah. You know how it is. Everything's out in the strip so people can gather and watch and cheer.
Hook. Yeah, it's the hook.
So people were weighing in and stuff. And like, I had no idea I was 355 pounds. Like, I don't know why. I guess I just never thought I could be that heavy. Well, I decided to weigh, and I weighed in at, I think, 355, and like the siren thing goes off. And like now everybody's congratulations, you fat boy. You get to eat for free and get fatter. And not only that, but then all of a sudden we got everybody's attention on the strip. So there was, probably only 40 or 50 people. But that's a lot of people to be looking at your weight.
What was your reaction? Were you trying to play
shocked, dude.
Were you trying to play it off, be like, oh yeah, or inside of you, just like,
or were you happy? I'm eating for free,
exactly.
But then it starts to settle, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So I remember smiling and like taking it in because people were cheering that I was going to get to eat for free. But on the inside, like you said, Monico, it was like, dude, really? I'm that big, like that. And then now I look at some of the pictures from that trip and compare it to where I am now. And I'm like, yeah, I was that big.
And that's what I feel a lot of people have trouble with. They can't.
Still couldn't make a change.
Yeah.
That's the big thing too. It still took me probably 3 full years really from then. That was like June of 2018. Or April of 2018 till really probably around that September of 2021. That's how long it took me to finally, and really I can't really give myself credit for being like, I made the change, right? It was like my body literally said, bro, you're not eating today. You're gonna water fast whether you want to or not, because if you eat, you're gonna throw up.
But that's important though. So you were still able to listen to your body and be
because a lot of people can't like accept the fact that they are overweight,
right,
and then proceed to go make a change in their life to fix it,
right.
Like a lot of people just can't come to terms with that. They can't accept themselves getting that out of hand.
Yep.
So they just like block it off and they get worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, an unpopular opinion for me is body shaming works.
Yeah,
that's. Because, well, first of all, I had my brothers over here.
It can be, yeah.
First of all, I had my brothers over here that always make fun of my tiger scratch marks.
Oh, yeah.
Because
the stretch marks.
My stretch marks. And they're always bright red.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So eventually.
Especially if you get more sun, right? So it's like summer and you happen to. That's the other weird thing, it's like, and I think I've gotten more to a point now, the age that I'm in and the experiences I've had, I don't care what other people think of me. Mm-hmm. Most people, right? If you're not important and foundational in my life, I don't care what your opinion is of me for the most part.
How hard was it to get to that spot?
It took a long time.
Yeah,
it takes a long time, man. I mean, there were times
developing.
It does, yeah. And now it's like, I'm out the summer, and I really got to this point too, even before I lost the weight. But there are individuals, a good person that comes to mind is like Jonah Hill. Bigger celebrity, right? He talked a lot about his battle with weight, and like he would refuse to take his shirt off at the pool.
Yeah,
and like I remember that feeling, right? It was like I don't want people staring at me, or seeing someone else that even maybe didn't have the defined six pack, but at least, man, it must be nice to walk around there and not think everybody's looking at you and thinking, man, how fat are you, right? So over time, I've gotten to the point where mentally speaking in certain aspects, like my physical look, I don't care what other people think, right? I do still definitely, I remember when I got my first 1-star Google review, I was devastated, bro. I was like, I didn't sleep. Yeah, dude. And like we have some, like I said, we have a lot of support channels in State Farm. We have one individual who is our agency field specialist. She comes in and helps like with our computers and stuff. And she tracks marketing and stuff like that. She texts me. She's like, I see you got a 1-star. And I was like, Linda, I can't even talk about it right now. Like I can't. I'm freaking out over here. I'm trying to report it to Google. I don't even know who this lady is. The lady's name on Google was like Cherry Girl, right? So I couldn't even look her up to see who it was. Finally, I connected some of the dots, and it was a failure of service on our agency's end, but I think it was also a little bit taken out of context and really exaggerated with how she left us a 1-star. But we were reaching out to do a review and ask her some questions on why she didn't have other coverages that we offer. And we potentially couldn't find one of the other policies she had in place because it was given to us from another agent that retired. That's who I took over for. And it was like stuck in the system. So like on one end, and the team members she had the interaction with, she names by name in the review, and she felt awful for causing me to get that 1 star because she knows, you know, again, kind of how my anxiety works. And like at the end of the day, I finally got to the point. I'm like, as a consumer, if I look at someone who's got 150 just 5-star reviews, I'm gonna say BS, right? You've manufactured half of those. Yeah, whatever that might be. Having that rating of 4.9 stars tells people I am human, right? Tells people that I employ other humans, our team. We make errors, right? But we try our dang hardest to fix them and make it right to the customer, you know? So it's like you take it with the territory, you know? I can't please everybody, right? And I learned that real young, and that takes me kind of back to the church setting, because that was really where I learned that was, you know, I felt like I had 120 bosses at that point. Every member of the congregation wanted to tell me how to do this or that, or
especially because they were older than you.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm 21, 22, 23, 24 when I finally stepped away.
What made you finally take that step away? Was it just like all the pressure of everything building up? It was a mutual
agreement between me and the church. Yeah, it was. It was a lot. Ultimately they came to the realization they didn't actually want what they thought they wanted. They didn't want a bunch of new people, because new people have different ideas, and different ideas make people uncomfortable. And that's what we're fighting all the time, people. Right? It's traditions of men. Everybody has this certain. Well, I remember. I'll give you this one. This is just wild. Like, this is a wild concept here. There was a specific type of grape juice that was used for communion. It got changed. Someone bought great value grape juice or something. Bro, it was like the world was ending.
Really?
Oh yeah. I got reamed, bro. Like screamed at.
Just because of the different flavored grape juice.
Apparently. You could put Welch's here and great value, and you could put a third. I wouldn't know the difference. Yeah. Right? I wouldn't know the difference.
So like a question, like, I mean, I don't know a lot about that stuff.
Yeah.
But so could you get fired from being, I guess, the pastor?
Absolutely.
They could fire you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Is it like the church members who like take a unanimous
It's really
vote,
more like the leadership.
The leadership?
It's supposed to be leadership technically of the church. Every church works a little bit differently, but that's kind of how that worked. And really, so I was actually under contract. So and maybe that was a good thing, because they actually requested my resignation like 3 months after my son was born. He was like 3 months old, and like the leaders. I say the leaders as far as the whole board, but it wasn't. It was like 2 that really just. And again, they were the ones that had the issues with the changing. You know, it's even as much as like what you wear to church, right? Was a problem. And so we started this Saturday night. Basically what I ended up doing was I'm like, okay, you don't want him here and in jeans and a t-shirt on Sunday mornings. So let's do a separate thing where the new folks and people who want to come and maybe kind of turn the volume up a little bit, want to laugh maybe a time or two, they'll come on Saturday night. Well, then I got in the mentality that I was putting all my effort into Saturday night because it was so much fun, right? And young people were coming and like...
got more life in there.
Yeah. Kids were running around. You know, that's the other thing too, is like any preacher that says they're bothered by kids in the background, they're lying. They love it. They love it. Because what does that mean? That means that there's the next generation's in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one thing I never like understood. Like,
yeah,
you got
let them run,
kids.
Baby.
Shh.
Yeah, no.
Be quiet. Go to the back and go.
Yeah, go run around. Run up. Come up here. Come up on the stage, man. I used to have some kids come up. They'd sit on the stairs, man. I'd sit right next to them. You know.
I think that's important though.
Dude, that was fun
for kids to have that like freedom to be there.
Yeah.
Because if you tell them don't run around, don't make any noise.
Yeah.
They're gonna start to hate it.
Yeah, for sure.
And as they get older,
guess what
then-
happens? They turn into individuals that never go back when they can make their own decision. And actually, probably in between our generation and our parents was the biggest wave of where people decided to stop going to church when they became 18, 16, whatever the age might be, where parents don't force kids to go anymore. And that, dude, I mean, that was the biggest issue, is like, it was so structured. Basically, there were so many expectations on how my message could be geared towards others that, like, they were stripping my freedom away from, you know, just having fun with people and telling them about grace and mercy, like, and going and talking to them where they were, you know. And I mean, I'm still happy with the opportunity that I was given. So then I also progressed a little bit more in the fire department and joined the Chaplin side of that as well. So I was also a volunteer firefighter, but then also would serve as the chaplain on certain calls. And then, what
What
Fort
is
Morgan,
the
chaplain? So chaplain has a kind of an unfortunate job. Most people think of it that way. I have to go and notify people of death.
Okay.
And, you know, I can provide counseling to first responders as a chaplain, right? I mean, you might be asked to do a funeral or certain things, be present at certain award ceremonies, things like that. You're really just like a spiritual coach, is really that's how I looked at it. And, you know, I mean, there were a lot of times we were on some bad accidents and stuff, man. It was a great opportunity to introduce, hey, my name's Corey Knutson. I'm a chaplain here, Fort Morgan Volunteer Fire Department, and just want to make sure, you know, you're okay. And, you know, hold people's hands. Maybe you don't say a word, man. Maybe you're just hugging them. I don't know. There was many different things. And when people are thinking that their time may be up, they are a little more receptive to some of the encouragement and talking about grace and mercy. And so I've had some opportunities within that too, to potentially see someone's relationship with the Creator restored right then and there, man. It was wild. But it was difficult the first couple of times to really tell people that they lost a loved one. But then I looked at it in a different perspective. At least I get to be present with them. Right. And sometimes that meant 5 minutes, and sometimes there was like 5 hours, right? And just dealing with it. And sometimes I think the hardest part for me, as you can probably already tell, I talk a lot. At those times it was like, what do you say?
It's just,
No words are good enough.
Yeah.
Right. You just lost your 7-year-old son. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could tell me any words that are going to make me feel better. Right.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need someone else there. Just give them a hug or something.
Yeah.
Just knowing that someone's right there with you.
Yep. And then there are some things, right? So at that point in time, once death has occurred, plans have to be made. Whether or not you want to make those plans at that time, it don't matter, right? Bodies will begin to rot and that kind of stuff. So it's also kind of being a liaison between maybe a funeral home and the individual as well as a chaplain, and help them understand options and things like that. And that really through that, and then devastating fires. I think one point in either was it early winter or late. It was either end of 2013 or beginning of 2014. We had a 3-month stretch where we had more fully involved structure fires in Fort Morgan Volunteer Fire Department Protection District than like half of Metro Denver fire, right? If we had many more. And I think it was a lot of them were in the same areas. I think there was some faultiness to some aspect of the construction back in the 60s or 70s whenever those houses were built. But I mean, it was seeing those kind of things and understanding that those things have to be rebuilt. That's really what actually started getting me intrigued. When I look at it now, that's what intrigued me about insurance, was figuring out how does somebody recover from something like that, right? What do you got to do, and how can you be involved? And if you're just dialing a 1-800 number and you just took a $300,000 house and burned it to the ground, I would like more than a 1-800 number to be present, right? I would love a human being to say, hey, I know who you are, and you know, been insured with me for X amount of years, months, whatever. I'm going to be right there, right? I'm going to walk you through this process, and I'm going to help you get restored to the situation you were in previous to this disaster. And you know, so that's really, I think when I look at it, when we were in internship and developing our mission statement, they encouraged us all to do that. It was pretty easy for me. Want to just help people and impact them positively and provide insurance education so that individuals can make informed decisions, whether that's buying from me or not. That's okay. At least you now, hopefully after an interaction with me or my team, you understand insurance better than before.
Just educate the masses and stuff like that.
So do you still do like the Chaplin stuff, or is that something you'd be open to in the future?
I would be. Yeah, I absolutely would be. I mean, I say I don't, but honestly, now that I'm my own boss and I am actually an independent contractor that represents this massive brand, I use my business as a step stool to encourage others. Right. And so, yeah, do I have an official title as chaplain right now? Absolutely not. But I'm still involved in certain things. And it's interesting how life navigates sometimes, and you just happen to run into the right people at the right time. Right. That need. Actually, today I texted one of my old coworkers when I was working. Drake came out with the song like Kiki, do you love me? Right? Mm-hmm. How many years? How many years ago was that? I don't even know when that song came out. 5-6 years probably, maybe more. But we used to like text each other that like Kiki, do you love me? And so like I texted her that today, and she's like, you don't even know how much I needed this laugh today. My 13-year-old dog died on Saturday, right? And I'm like. That's wild. Like that kind of stuff just makes me smile ear to ear because it's like, I don't know why I decided to text her, and just encourage her. I mean, I love her. She's a wonderful human being and really was helpful in me deciding to become an agent. But she lives in Louisiana now. I live here in Colorado, but an integral part of my life for 3 or 4 years, just like, man, I should text her today. And I did. Well, I know what made me do it. The song came on. I happened to be listening to my Apple Music on shuffle, and it just happened to come on. And that's
shuffle, or did you look it up?
No, shuffle. I promise. Yeah, I definitely didn't look it up. I'm not a huge Drake fan. He's got some good jingles, but not a huge Drake fan. So it was definitely shuffle, and it came on, and so then I just texted her like that verbiage from that part of the song, and she was just like, man, that I needed this laugh bad today. And it's because my dog just died. And that was crazy. It was just crazy how it all just kind of worked out perfectly. I looked at the phone. I had texted her when I got my customized plates that say NOCO SFA, which stands for Northern Colorado State Farm Agent. That was back in May. So I hadn't talked to her in 3 months, That's crazy. Yeah. So I just look for those opportunities, and I try and not get narrow-minded on just trying to run this business to make money, right? There's so much more. It doesn't matter what you're doing or how you're creating wealth. You can use it, right? And whatever you're doing to create wealth, you can also use it to impact people at the same time. And that's my favorite part of this profession, is that I can be as available as a customer wants me to be, right? Some people don't want to talk to their insurance agent ever. That's fine. Other people want to talk to me daily, it seems like, every little question. That can get a little irritating, right? But at the same time, that's what I'm encouraging customers to do. Use me as a resource. Use my team as a resource. So, it's kind of like just reminding myself, no matter how bad it gets, this is the coolest thing I've ever been able to do. Like being able to have freedom and just have conversations with people about a pretty boring product. Insurance is pretty dang boring. It really is. I was kind of telling you that about studying for the licenses. Like, you kind of just got to learn the jargon.
Push through it. Yeah,
I mean, and that's the funny part is like when I just hired my third in April, and he's all trained up now. And like I told him, first 2 weeks in after he got his license, I'm like, okay, now forget everything you learned. Now I'm going to teach you how we apply the information, right? You just learned everything you needed to learn to be professionally licensed. Now it's time to figure out really what you need to know to apply to be good at educating consumers about insurance, right, and having conversations. Because most people, if I'm giving you different terms and stuff like indemnification, any idea what that means?
No.
Right. I mean, it's an insurance term that just means to be restored into the position you were in prior to loss. Right. So if your car was in good shape and then you get hit by somebody, indemnification is the process of getting your car fixed. Right.
Okay. There you go. Word of the day.
The word of the day, indemnification. Yeah, indemnify. And that is the definition of insurance, is indemnification. Now, how many times in a conversation when I'm talking to a consumer does indemnification come up? Rarely ever. Because they'll be like, huh? What do you mean? Right? So instead of using the word, I'll just give them the actual definition of the word, which is I want to help you be restored to the financial position you were in prior to loss. If you have to come out of money or come out of pocket with your own money, then your insurance policy wasn't written correctly and wasn't reviewed or whatever it might be. And there's been a lot of things inside the state of Colorado that has reminded people it's important to take insurance seriously, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they understand it any better. They just want to prioritize learning. So I'm actually really excited with where we're at because we are in a realm where information is so easy to get, but sometimes it's still not easy to understand, right? So you get information on a certain topic and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Need someone to help you out.
85 million people that, don't like apples. Okay, what does that help me do, right, with that information? So I think that's kind of what we're mostly geared for. My State Farm office is helping people understand why they need to know the certain things and why it's important to discuss options for covering it, because I think a lot of people don't understand the statutes in the state too. And the state gives no shits about your financial well-being. They do not care about you financially, right? The state, that's not their position. That's not their purpose. I don't know, and now I'm getting all passionate about insurance, but you can see right now we're gearing up here. You're going to get the pitch. But most people don't even have any clue what their liability limits are on their auto policies. And if they do know what they are, they don't know why they chose them. Right. And most people are like, well, what's a liability limit?
What's usually the cheapest one?
Sure. Most times, price is very important to really any consumer in any industry. Price is important. But most people will tell you price is only important where value is absent. Right. So if I don't provide you value, of course you're going to be focused on price. But if I provide you, in your mind, $20,000 worth of value and I'm only charging you $200, are you ever going to tell me no?
Yeah,
never.
Of course not. Yeah.
Never. Of course not. Not one time out of 1,000. But the biggest thing to understand is so there is a state minimum requirement to legally drive your vehicle on the road, which is $25,000 per person of bodily injury liability. Okay. Mm-hmm. What does that simply mean? Is that if you cause an accident and cause physical harm to another individual, your insurance company will pay $25,000 per person and $50,000 total for that type of injury, for that type of damage, $50,000 per accident. And then property damage liability limit is $15,000. Okay. So you hit somebody, you back into my truck and outside and I need a full new fender, right? Maybe that's $3,500. Insurance company's going to pay that. You hit me head on at 55 miles an hour and my truck's no longer drivable, right? And now I have a $40,000 truck, we'll say, it's a 6-year-old truck, $40,000 truck, and you only have $15,000 of property damage. Who do you think's on the hook for the other $25,000?
You?
Yep, you are. The person who caused the accident.
Yeah, the person.
Who didn't have enough insurance coverage, right? So in my mind, how quickly can you spend $25,000 in the hospital?
Pretty quick. A couple days.
One weekend, maybe, yeah. Right? Pretty expensive vacation.
Faster than that.
Yeah, it might be. It might be for the right thing, right? Yeah. If you need surgery on your back, your leg, an amputation, right? Whatever it might be, you could spend $100,000
easy
that fast.
First day you go and they're limping you're pretty much your arm is hanging and they'll be like, wait, sir, let's check your insurance. Let's check you, because they want to know they're going to get paid.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's the other issue. Now, what if you hit somebody and they don't make it home? How much is their life worth? How much is your life worth? right?
Priceless.
Sure, right?
That's what you like to think, but then
it is priceless in many areas of your life. It is priceless. A personal injury lawyer is going to say, well, I think Erick was at least worth $1 million, right? So we should go sue for $1 million, so that now your family or you know, even with kids, it's even more important, right? Because if you're not here you're the golden goose of the household, right? You're an income earner, and people don't even think about future income. Here's another wild statistic for you, right? So we're going to use we just caused $1 million accident, okay? And we decided we're only carrying the state minimum liability limits. So we have $25,000 for bodily injury per person that was hurt, right? Oh man, there were 6 people in the car. Whew, we're in trouble, because the accident limit's only $50,000. If everybody in that car needed $25,000, it's basically the first people that ask for it get paid. Once that limit's over, we'll use State Farm as the insuring company, since I'm a bit biased. They're going to send you a letter that says, Monico, we have paid out the limits on your policy. We highly recommend you seek legal representation. Because then what that means, you're going to get sued.
That means it's coming.
Right, yep. So let's say that's what you have, right? And you've maxed out. Now, the total amount of coverage you would have between bodily injury liability and property damage liability, which are 2 separate things. Bodily injury is the actual physical damage to the person, right? Hurt my leg, broke my bone, whatever it might be. Pain and suffering, that kind of stuff. You traumatized me, right? It really is true. You get some PTSD from bad accidents. And then property damage liability is like, you hit my car, that you damaged my property. You hit a stop sign, stoplight, take out a bridge, hit a bank. The only reason I bring that up is we see that often in Fort Morgan. Mm-hmm. People roll over curbs and stuff, right? I mean, we dealt with some of the funniest, I say funniest, it's not funny for certain people. Funny for observers, not funny for the people who
now it's right. Now it's funny, actually.
Yeah,
looking back on it.
So we have $50,000 per accident of bodily injury and $15,000 for property damage. How many vehicles are on the road that are worth more than $15,000?
All of them,
pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Especially in today's day and age. So right now we have $65,000 of protection. If there's $1 million worth of damage, that is $935,000 that someone is on the hook for. Right, and if you carry the state minimum liability limits, you're on the hook for it. Now, let me tell you how they can. You may not have. Do you guys have $900,000 sitting in an account somewhere?
No,
I don't either. Right, I'm nowhere close to that. Right.
I hope I can find.
If you did, right, if you did, they could be taken from you that fast. Right. Most people don't. So there are actual statutes in place that say this is how, Monico, you're going to repay Erick for causing all that damage to him and his family. We are going to take 25% of your future income for the next 20 years. Oh, wait, you also own your home? How much equity do you have in your home, Monico? Because guess what? Now you got to put it on the market. You have to sell off your mortgage, and every ounce of equity goes to Erick now, right, to pay back the damage you caused, right? So what would your life look like if you lost 25% of your income for 20 years? How is that going to affect your financial dreams, right, and your financial goals? Probably going to implode. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know many people that budget with only 75% of their income. Right? Most people budget appropriately with 100% of their income.
Some of them even budget with like 150%.
Agreed. Yes. Yeah. We would say most of those probably don't even run a budget. Right? But that's what people don't understand, is that every time you get in your car and you start your car, the illustration I use all the time is everything that's important to you is on the hood of that car. Is it covered appropriately? Right? Now, yes, the 25, 50, 15 limits, we call them, right, is going to be the cheapest policy you can buy. It is. So then I would tell people, right, I've never had somebody tell me they were upset for having too much insurance, but I deal with people telling me all the time they're upset because they were in an accident or they had a loss to their home, and they're upset because they didn't have the right enough coverage, right? So it's like having those reviews with customers and bringing up those questions. If you cause $1 million accident, how much of that damage do you want your insurance company to pay? What would your answer be if I asked you that?
All of it.
Amen. Thank you, Erick. And there was no coaching in that. That's the answer that everyone gives. All of it, right? So if I could make sure that that whole $1 million is covered and it's $120 a month versus the standard 25, 50, 15, that's $75 a month, right? So it's about $40 to $45 more a month to be protected appropriately. Would you say yes or no?
Yeah.
Probably, right? It would be a lot more apt to spend more money if it's clearly explained the value, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not selling you something you don't need. I'm selling something I hope you never need, right? But if there's the accident that is $1 million of damage, you definitely need this right amount of coverage. And so I think, that's what a lot of people tell me is well, nothing like that's ever going to happen to me. Okay. That's part of insurance. That's called now you're choosing to self-retain. I sure hope nothing happens. I would rather spend the extra $40 a month for the next 25 years than have the chance, 1% chance, and not need it, exactly. Than have that 1% chance that I do need it, and now I'm on the hook for $1 million.
I like how you got Erick. He pretty much closed himself.
He did
on the whole thing, so that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll get his paperwork ready.
We will. Absolutely.
We'll get it ready.
Yeah.
But what do you want to be remembered by?
I want to be remembered by how I positively affected someone's life, right? So whether that's through the insurance realm or just a stranger, sometimes I do weird things. I call them weird because a lot of other people think they're weird, but like I just pay for someone's groceries, right? Like they're in front of me. I don't even know what it is. I just feel like I have something inside me kind of saying you should help them out. Maybe that's how I am remembered, right? And they don't even know my name, where I live or any of that, but they're like, man, that one guy, helped me make ends meet, where I was actually thinking I'm going to have to put half of this back, right? So I think I'm trying to give back to my community, and complete strangers is fine too, and my kids and anybody in my life. I'm trying to give back what was given to me. And that was, love, grace, and mercy, right? And by my grandparents and my mother and other many important people in my life, teachers, coaches, right? Friends, parents, all that kind of stuff, I think has all had an impact on what I want to do and how I want to do it. Even some of I was actually having this conversation the other day. Because apparently my employees think I'm a pretty cool boss to work for, right? And that's a goal of mine. That was a goal of mine because I've worked for some absolute dicks, right? Like I remember I was like 19 going to college. I was working for this company called Bytall Plumbing and Electric. John Bytall, probably 80 years old, still working full time. Couldn't hardly see the road when he was driving. Couldn't hear nothing. And I realized it was just kind of him, but he screamed about everything. He was just a screamer. Screwdriver was not within reach. Boy, look out! It was just he was not a nice guy to be around. Like it just wasn't fun ever working for him. And it was like he didn't think of you as a human being. He's like, you're just a college student, and you don't want to show up to work anymore. I'll find someone else. I want to also use my opportunity to be the boss to really impact the team, and I call them family because they are family, and we all have the same mission as a family. But like I want to make sure they're taken care of too, and we do better as a group, or we do worse as a group. Right, it's a group effort here, and those are the people too that I want to make sure they know I appreciate them, I care about them, and I truly am concerned with them achieving their financial dreams and family dreams and career dreams, and that I'm never holding them back, but I'm giving them every opportunity to achieve what they want to achieve, right? And so I've actually instilled, this is going to sound crazy, and it probably is. Many people have told me that I have an unlimited PTO plan.
That's good. I think it's good though, because then they feel like you're taking care of them, and they don't want to let you down either. Yeah, never been burned on it. Now I haven't been in business that long. I'm sure it'll happen someday, right? It wouldn't ruin it for the others, and I think I can catch it in time to go, this is being abused, right? But at that point, I mean, that's the thing. I want to change the scope of how important work is. I mean, you're working 40 hours out of your week.
24 times 7. So what do we? I mean, we're talking what 168 hours a week. Is that what we got? So 25% of that is spent on work. That's a lot. That's a lot of time, right? So people should be appreciated. They should be loved on, and they should be treated as people, not employees. And you look at some of these corporations that are doing like big corporations. I'm a very small business, but these people have thousands of employees. The ones that treat their individuals right and empower their managers to manage appropriately, they're the ones that are having the most success. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I just think it's important to be remembered by more than just accomplishments on the wall, right? More than how much money's in your bank account, more than how much crap you've accumulated. Because I've seen them dig holes. They don't dig holes big enough to take it with you, gentlemen. I don't know if you guys
No,
do that.
they don't.
No, yeah,
enough for the box.
Yeah, enough for the box.
Right. You might get you can maybe have a stuffed animal, or maybe someone will throw a
it.
golf ball in there for me. I don't even want to be in a box, right? Go ahead and burn it. Put it in a little urn or something and set it down. You don't have to save it. Throw it out in the ocean. Throw it off a plane. Bury it. I don't care. It don't matter. But I think that's what most people think about is like, I'm going to be remembered by my accomplishments.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered by how I've impacted people's lives. And I hope that I get an opportunity to impact anybody I'm around positively. And I know that I'm going to be forgiven for the negative interactions, because there are negative interactions and I lose my cool and make mistakes. But the goal is to be remembered by the positive ways I've been able to impact people.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
I think it's very interesting because at the beginning of the podcast, you said kind of wanted to not work your typical 9 to 5, be
Right.
tied down. You wanted to have freedom.
Yep.
And you also wanted to help people out,
Yep.
like as a pastor.
Yep.
And now you're doing all those sort of things just in a
Right.
different way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
like the observation I had too, like all your professions or careers you've had, they've all been intertwined with helping people.
Yeah.
Like leveling people up, making them better. So I think that's and the stage you're at now, you're able to do that.
Yeah.
But like actually like be able to provide a job for them or employment stuff for them. So just an observation. I was, just kind of.
Where could people find you? Either like both as like they heard your talk, got convinced, got sold on policy there, or just like personally too, like where can people find you?
Yeah, so I live up in Fort Collins now. My actual State Farm physical office, which is crazy. A lot of insurance agents and companies don't have a physical office. We still do as State Farm agents. Is on the corner of South Shields and West Horsetooth. And most people know that area of town by Hibachi place right there. That is killer. If you guys ever come up that way, we got to go test it out because it is so good. Yeah, so good. And so I just tell people I'm in the same complex as Hibachi. Oh yeah, I know where you are, right? And then I'm in the 1015 building, so it's 1015 West Horsetooth. You can also go online. insurenoco.com is my website. It's going to take you to exactly what we were talking about in the beginning, where you're going to see this picture of this a little bit more bloated version of myself, I guess you might call it. That's in progress to be changed as well. But InsureNoco, so INSURENOCO, because we do want to help Northern Colorado in general, all of Colorado. We're licensed in the whole state, so we can help people from anywhere. We are more competitive in certain areas on price, but I like always to have the opportunity to teach people why price shouldn't be your number one and only priority, right? I know it's important to a budget. And I don't ever really even try and convince people, unless they're completely insured wrong, to spend $100, $200 more with me a month, right? I do want to save people money. I love that part too. And especially when I can do the whole conversation and really get people's perspective on how they're insured. Because at the end of the conversation, I'm going to ask, so now do you feel like you're insured properly? And again, I usually get the yes, right? Or maybe that'll bring up one more question, which is what I'm trying to do too. I want to make sure all the questions are answered. But like it's one of those things where you can really, really make an impact, through a small conversation. And that's my favorite part is, wow, you just saved me $30 a month. And now I have insurance that I know what it does and how it does. And I guess my favorite part of the conversation is when people say, I never understood it that way, or I've never heard it explained that way. That makes so much sense. That right there means I've done my job, right? And again, I've had people say that and still not purchase insurance from me. It's okay. That's okay, right? And I've reviewed policies from my biggest competitors for people, no charge, right? Just to give them a better understanding of the coverages they have. And then I do always ask their permission, hey, can I compete with this quote and see if I can save you money now that you understand why you need certain insurances? And I've had people, again, tell me no. And then they call their current insurance company and change all their limits. Great. Right. I still feel like my job has been accomplished, because now if you're in an accident or you have a loss, that individual, even though they're not insured with me and State Farm, the company I represent, they are now insured properly. Right. Which is, I know if they have that loss, they're going to be very thankful that we got to have an interaction. Right. Yeah. Maybe I didn't get to sell that policy or an extra policy or whatever it might be. So be it. That's okay. That's not goal number one. Goal number one is impacting people positively while providing insurance education, right? That's it.
Oh, that's great.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
We got Facebook too, but yeah, I mean, Facebook, we do. I think I have a business Instagram. It tells you how social media tech savvy I am. Try and keep up on the website and whatnot, but I spend most of my time, man, just having conversations with people. And we're up to about 1,300 households that we insure. A lot of those were from a retiring agent given to us back in 2020. And so now we just get the opportunity to take care of them now,
Keep serving the community.
It's cool. A couple times my first year, I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I don't feel like I'm above answering the phone, right? I love answering the phone. Like, this is Corey Knutson, State Farm. This is Corey. How can I help you today? And they'll be like, oh, wait, you're the guy. I'm like,
you're actually the guy.
Yeah, I guess I am, actually. I am the guy. Like, oh, man, we were insured with so-and-so for 25 years and never talked to him once. And our first interaction with your office, you're answering your own phone. Love that. I just be like, okay, I love it too.
Cool.
How can I help? So that's the kind of stuff. Obviously, I am out of the office sometimes, but depending on who you are and who you know, you may also get access to my cell phone number. I don't give that out to everybody, but definitely love helping people with insurance. And a lot of business and quotes and conversations can happen via text, which, makes life a little bit easier, that you may not have to dedicate a whole hour to having an insurance conversation, because life gets busy. But it is an important topic. And once you get it hammered out and you have an insurance agent or insurance company you trust and believe in, then it's just like maybe once a year you do a recap, right? Just like, hey, anything change, right? That's the biggest thing for me.
Just check in.
Yeah. What life incidents have changed? Oh, I got married. Great. Glad I asked. Now we better talk about, your partner and your spouse. We need to get them in the household, right? Oh, my kid went off to college. Okay. Oh, I finished my basement. Right? Those are kind of things where I'm trying to explore, because if I don't know about it, I can't insure it properly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I'm so passionate about insurance and financial services, and really not only auto insurance and home insurance, but I think life insurance is probably just as important for everybody.
Yeah, all insurance. I think just being able to stay covered, like you said, for those cases that can.
For sure.
Yeah. We're all one bill away.
But there you have it. If you guys are in the market for some more, for a new policy or something, make sure to check them out.
If you have any questions about insurance, right? We have a great email me support on our website. Click the email, ask the question, right? I'll give you a professional answer. Unbiased professional answer, and no pressure to buy anything from me ever.
Yeah, we'll put all the links down below. That way people can have them and check them out.
Yeah.
And then, there's a lot of other topics we wanted to get into, but we'll save that for next time when we have you back on.
Well, I can't wait to be back.
Yeah,
sweet.
It's exciting.
Yeah, so I'll just leave you guys all with our motto here on the podcast. An act of rebellion is to question.
Cool. Appreciate you guys
tuning in.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Great time.
Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. Yeah.